back here with a video. Going to do a beer review of something that I just picked up about 45 minutes ago. Went over to my little local package convenience liquor store, and it is Monday afternoon around 5 p.m. Second week of January of 2024, January 8th, and worked most of the weekend. Actually went out a little bit after I got off of my shift, and had a shot or two of tequila, had a beer or two. Then I was a little tired, and it's kind of, two doubles in a row. So this morning and early part of the afternoon, I was just feeling a little sluggish. Hung out, just laid in bed for a really long time. Had some book, sat around, read, cooked myself some eggs, had my coffee, drank a little water. A little bit of an overcast, dreary day here in Atlanta. So, really no regrets about just laying low and kind of slumbering in for first part of this Monday afternoon. And there is the national championship football game going on tonight. We got Washington versus Michigan. So I'm sure that kickoff will start around 8:30. Should be a very entertaining, probably an even matchup between the two teams. Looking forward to probably stepping out of the house here around 7:30 or 8 and trying to catch that game somewhere. But nonetheless, like I said, wanted to do a video. We're talking about a beer. I just picked this 12-pack up. I'm a little late to the game on this one. This is a Christmas ale. Given that Christmas was more than 2 weeks ago. Nonetheless, these opportunities, they only kind of come around once a year on picking up the seasonal Christmas beers. And haven't really drinking many Christmas beers so far this year. If you're familiar with the style, Christmas beers, typically they just have a bit of spice. Certainly they are a darker style. I think sometimes they're like a dark lager. Sometimes they might be kind of like a porter. But when I think of a porter or a stout, like you're thinking just that really dark black beer, which has all of its phenomenal, unique characteristics. That coffee, the chocolate, heavy, some of an oat. Nice, just all, you can go any way with it. And you start barrel aging those stouts and the porters, and it adds that extra depth of flavor. But typically, I think with the Christmas ales, they're not quite so dark. But they still have a nice kind of a robust, spiced flavor to them. So, with all that being said, I picked this up. This is the Christmas Ale by Breckenridge Brewery. And I felt that it was appropriate to talk a little bit about Breckenridge. I'm sure that everyone here is probably familiar with Breckenridge being a ski town in Colorado. So in the interest of the ski town, I wanted to bring up the trail map, where for those that are so fortunate to be out there cruising the slopes of the mountain in Colorado, here are the ski trails that you can choose to snowboard and ski on. So you can zoom in. Oh, zoom. Where's the zoom function? Here we go. So, I've skied Breckenridge a handful of times, skied/snowboarded. Actually, I 100% prefer snowboarding. I kind of gave up skiing when I was about 15 years old and opted just to be exclusively a snowboarder. Whenever I do have the opportunity to go out west during the winter and charge the powder. Just that again. Charge the powder. Exclusively, I do snowboard. But Breckenridge is an incredible old ski town. It's a mining town, just like most of them, like Vail, like Keystone, like Aspen, Telluride. They're all like They were once silver and gold mining towns back around the turn of the 20th century. So you have this really just neat old architecture. Everything is in this comfortable little village setting, and it's hard to beat Breckenridge as far as a destination for recreation, skiing, snowboarding, winter activities. That brewery, I've been to it before. It's a small little bar slash restaurant, and it's located right here, kind of in the, I don't know if that's the eastern or the western side of town. I assume that that's the western side of town, but this is kind of where the brewery is, right here off of Main Street. But let's just look at the ski terrain. Seeing a lot of double black diamonds. Certainly doesn't seem to be a beginner type of ski mountain. There's a lot of challenging terrain here. Looks like some backcountry. A lot of double backs over here. A lot of glade skiing, through the trees. Curious what the highest elevation peak is. So you get over here to peak 9, and you're right at 13,000 feet elevation, with some nice big wide open bowls. What are the names? George's Thumb Bowl, Whitetail Bowl, Lake Chutes, Snow White. You got Double Barrel right here. Looks like that's a single black. So there's considerable steep there on that run. I cruise that thing right down the center of the mountain. Leads you into this interesting little funnel. Man, I bet people just charge that. I think that would be a great sequence of runs if you got yourself up here to peak 9. You hit some of these open terrain bowls. Great on a powder day, I'm sure. Come just jamming it down through here, and then you end up over here at Double Barrel, and you hit this steep. Sure, you can just haul ass coming down. But anyway, it really makes me want to book my trip and get out there and do some snowboarding here in the next couple of months. But back to the beer. All right, we're talking about Breckenridge Brewery. Great brewery. Couple fun facts about this brewery. Looks like they started their operations in 1991, based upon the little FAQ and testimonial here that I was reading about the brand. Started in 91, just a bunch of ski bums that decided that they wanted to start brewing their own beer. And they have seriously grown their operations in the last 30 plus years. This is their brewery on Main Street. It looks like several years later, they opened up a second location in Breckenridge, in downtown Denver. And Denver location was right next to the Colorado Rocky Stadium. They stayed in that location for a handful of years, and then they moved to another area of Denver where they could increase their capacity. They bought a larger warehouse in 96. And then in 2015, it looks like that they entirely moved their brewing operation to Littleton, Colorado, in what was a 12-acre carnation farm. So all of their beers are brewed in this Littleton, Colorado, this large, just, little footprint of land that they have out there. So anyway, let's just chat about the beer. Thanks for listening. Nice fragrant aroma. It's got a great copper amberish hue to it. It looks a little bit like the Sweetwater 420 as far as coloration. I would say maybe a little bit darker than that. Um, it's got a really nice head on it. You can definitely catch those ambery notes. As I'm making mention to Sweetwater as a comparison to the 420, which I have done a previous video review on, um, just to give you the real shortened history and the backdrop here. So Sweetwater, legendary Atlanta brewery, been in business for about 30 years. Well, they were acquired by a Canadian company by the name of Tilray about 3 years ago. Tilray began as a licensed marijuana producer. And when cannabis and marijuana became legal on a recreational basis up in Canada, you had a handful of companies that began operations under very strict government licensing. And these major companies, basically had this vision and business plan of growing, cultivating this very high quality consumer product where they would be able to supply the Canadian population for all their recreational and medicinal marijuana. This is just this incredible phase and exhilarating, euphoric, just conversation and new industry that was built up, within a pretty short period of time. And the financing for these handful of companies basically came from Wall Street. Wall Street got behind this idea of this brand new industry of legal marijuana, basically taking over and being an incredible cash crop and something that down the road, once they scaled their distribution network and everything up, that it would, just be a very profitable business. So Wall Street got involved and basically started financing these handful of companies. So that's the story with the Canadian cannabis legalization movement. But what Tilray did is they started branching out into alcohol, predominantly beer. And the first acquisition that Tilray made in trying to pursue a beer alcohol product base is they acquired Sweetwater. So great old brewery in Atlanta, 30-year-old brewery. Tilray, Canadian cannabis company, comes on down to Atlanta, talks to the CEO, says, hey, we want to buy your company. So Tilray did. They bought Sweetwater Brewery 2 or 3 years ago. Can't remember exactly what the price was that they sold for. I think it was somewhere to the tune of about $250-300 million. So since that time, Tilray has also bought a handful of other breweries. Breckenridge Brewery was also acquired by Tilray probably about 1.5 years ago. So it's coming back full circle, back to our favorite hometown, 420. And let's give it a try. I have a hair clip in because my hair was just a little out of sorts. I had to pin it back, so just a side note. Anyway, so that's this is a good tasting beer. I like it. It's smooth. It's definitely got a caramelly note on the back end. It's approachable. It's easy to drink. It's not too heavy. Very smooth. Very smooth. And I bought a 12-pack for $19. I think it was very affordable for the quality and the uniqueness of this Christmas ale by Breckenridge Brewery. So super stoked to have these in the refrigerator for the next week or two. And go find yourself some great tasting beer. Sit back, enjoy them. Sip them if you got them. Peace, y'all.